So this fear over AI is way overblown. It's normal for humans to hate or to fear what is new because what is new is risky, right? So it's literally built into our DNA, into our lizard brain to fear things that are new. But technology in history teaches us that it's never, well, hasn't been the case anyway. It hasn't been the case thus far. It's always, when some new technology comes out, it's always been, no, this is the one. This is the one that's different. So I remember Y2K, during the Y2K, where everybody was concerned that nuclear bombs were going to go off, planes were going to fall out of the sky because computer systems were not programmed for the year 2000, Y2K. So what I took my Windows 98 and I just advanced the clock to 2000 and nothing happened. So people use fear to drum up a lot of business and, nothing happened. Now, people will argue, well, that's because they fixed everything. As I said, with Windows 98, I just advanced it. It was irrational. It was stupid. People were creating bomb shelters. People thought we were going to go total Mad Max, like total craziness, Road Warrior. Didn't happen. Whenever somebody uses fear to try to convince you of something, to try to drive a particular behavior in you and other people or culture, I would be very, very wary of those people. So AI, to me, is not the doom of development. It is actually the biggest opportunity in development I have seen. I am amazed at what you could do with AI. There's a whole bunch of new use cases, a whole bunch of new things that you can do with AI that prior to AI you could not do. In fact, the people who are at risk of AI are the large organizations who have a monopoly in the economies of scale. So what does that mean? There's a bunch of large organizations, big companies and so forth that only they could address certain issues or try to address certain issues because they had the ability to hire tons and tons of people. Now with AI, it is so much more efficient in certain situations that you don't need all these people. So the companies at risk are actually the big behemoths who are built on old systems. Small, nimble players can come in, one or two people, three people, and come in there and match and outperform the productivity of massive organizations. We need that big time in the West. One of the biggest problems we have in our culture today in the West is massive bureaucracies that are inefficient. It is literally the worst thing, the most dangerous thing that we have. It's incredible how much waste and abuse and outright fraud we have in systems. And the solutions are there. It's obvious, but the problem is the people who profit from these situations, they don't want to let it go. They don't want to let it go, right? Because they're making money, so they don't want it to change. So I'm dancing on the edge of politicalness, but I'm talking from the point of view as a system builder. I've been doing this for decades. AI, I am using it now daily. And what I've done is I built little custom AI assistants that take care of jobs. So I have, like, for example, one AI that evaluates sponsorship requests that I get daily. Sometimes I get 4 or 5 a day. And each sponsorship request used to take me 25 minutes, 30 minutes to evaluate and send a response, blah, 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 blah. I have to check to see if it's a decent company, if I like the product or service, what I could potentially do with this, etc. I won't get into all the details. Point is, it was like 25, 30 minutes per sponsor just to respond. So I would have tons of them sitting in my inbox for sometimes weeks, which is not ideal, right? So I built an AI to help me with that. So now, instead of taking 25, 30 minutes to decide whether or not and to send an email and craft an email for a sponsor, the AI does it in about 3 seconds. So that's fantastic. So you imagine, 4 or 5 times a day, that's like a couple hours a day I save just on that. I got much more complex situations going in terms of AI automations. This can be applied to so many different businesses and government institutions. It's incredible. I am convinced you can increase efficiencies in the way we do business now across any organization, whether private or government, you could cut the amount of time we spend on doing things by 80%, 90%, and still and get so much done, And so if you're thinking only in one step, you say, well, that's a lot of jobs lost. Well, a lot of less than ideal jobs lost. There's still a whole bunch of things that have to be done. So if you want to do well in this AI world that is still in its infancy, you have to become an AI expert. You have to understand how AI works. And what you should be doing is becoming an expert with these tools, just like somebody who learned personal computers early on in Office, how to use spreadsheets and micro and word processors early on. They ran circles around people who were still doing it on paper. That's what AI is about. You will become super valuable as an individual if you are an expert in AI. You come to see a prospective employer or a client, whether you're freelancing or whatever. If you come to the table with like a few AI assistants, so you become hyper productive. I am becoming incrementally more productive in my day-to-day work because I'm using AI. I just scratched the surface in terms of all this stuff. That's what it is. So don't let the doomers scare you, because this is typical. When a new technology comes out, the people who are profiting in the current system, they don't want the change. And I don't blame them. Why would you want, they don't want the change. Although in the end, it's better for everybody. Like the quality of life today is far better than the quality of life we had before automobiles. So when automobiles first came out, people were against automobiles, against people making horseshoes and wagon wheels and stuff. They convinced lawmakers in the U.S. that automobiles were so dangerous that they had to hire a guy to walk in front of the automobile with two flags warning people, here's an automobile. It sounds stupid, right, today? But that's what it was, And we're seeing that, we saw that in Y2K, technology advancements where we see huge productivity gains is no different. I was just watching an old presentation that Steve Jobs gave. I think it was 1992 when he was still working with Next Computers, and he was bringing in all the object-oriented programming through Next. Now, if you don't know object-oriented programming, it's a style of programming. You basically think of software as being individual objects, discrete objects that interact with each other. Prior to that, we had procedural programming, which was spaghetti goes, big mess. Anyway, bottom line is object-oriented programming allowed for far more sophisticated software to be developed and much more quickly. I think Jobs was saying they were 5 to 10 times more productive with OOP-based development over previous systems. And AI is going to be 100 times multiplier, if not 1,000 times multiplier. I guess that's 10 times. So just use it. And it's going to allow us to do things just like object-oriented programming, or just like React and Vue and Angular. These are front-end JavaScript libraries and frameworks. They allowed us to do things that prior was not possible. Now with AI, we're able to actually address what they call in the nerd world use cases that prior to that we couldn't do. So if you're looking back and you're thinking, your woe's me, we're not going to get jobs as entry-level React developers, why don't you look back and complain about not getting jobs as a typewriter repairman, or as a milkman, or as a wagon wheel builder, right? It's same phenomena. Meanwhile, I just talk to people. I have like jobs and business opportunities being hurled at me because of my work with AI, and I'm just scratching the surface with it. I'm hardly an AI expert. But being a software developer and understanding system design and system flows and all that kind of stuff gives me a huge advantage in the AI space. If you want to become an AI developer, you should learn at least the basics of code, the foundations, as I like to say, so that you can interact with the AI and be able to know when it's making mistakes, because it will make mistakes. And it will help you to build out better systems. There's no question about it. So I've been teaching and mentoring people in software development for many years, and I'm adapting to the times. So I do keep my fundamentals training because it's still super important today. the basic constructs of languages and so forth. But I'm now adding new modules. I just added another module on AI. So my AI foundations. Now I have an AI harness course, mini course, like 30 minutes. But nonetheless. And so I am in my state of decrepitude, semi-decrepitude, my age. I'm probably much older than you. I'm adapting, and I'm adapting and adopting the new AI technologies because I see huge advantages. First time, I have to tell you, in many, many years that I'm actually excited about software. If you think that anything that's happened, if you take AI out of it, nothing has changed in software development really, except for on the margins, since 2015. In terms of the development side of things, the cloud and distributed cloud hosting and the sophistication with that, and production workflows was upgraded over that time frame. But in terms of the core software development, it's pretty much the same. React to me was just a porting of how we did things on the server side for the front end, which is great. Not poo-pooing it, but it was not like, whatever. It didn't excite me. Cloud and cloud hosting and auto scaling of databases and so forth with AWS and other tools that are similar. That was kind of cool for me because we used to have to engineer that into our apps, and now you just work with one of these advanced cloud hosting solutions, then you wouldn't have to worry about that. VPSs, I'm coming from the background where I had physical servers in my closet back in the 90s. Anyway, so if anybody tells you that AI is the doom of jobs and software development, it's not. It's the doom of certain jobs, just like object-oriented programming and software development was the doom of certain. Personal computers was the doom of typewriters. There's no question. Automobiles was the doom of horse and buggy. Email was the doom of snail mail, and that's pretty much gone away. It's very little left. The web and Google was the doom of magazines and most newspapers. So it's the same thing. So anyway, embrace the new, massive opportunity. I think at the end of the day, it's just going to make life better overall for everybody, whether you're involved in it or not. And that's it. It's just driving down costs. That's what we want technology for. If ever you have the instinct to slow down the development of technology because you're worried about changes, good thing you weren't making those decisions back when somebody invented fire, right? Then we'd still, okay, it's an exaggeration, but yeah, or typewriters. No, we can't have personal computers. What happened with all the typewriter jobs, right? What about all the liquid paper jobs? What about the whole industry of repairing typewriters? What are we going to do about that?